Hey everybody, it's Will back again with some more readings. I was hoping to get all these done before the month of August began, but it don't look like it's going to play out that way. Haven't done very many this week. This is not my first reading for the week, but one of them. Using the same deck that I used last week for the last three readings, which is the Heaven and Earth Tarot deck. It's the one that I had setting out. This reading's for Cancer, I believe. That's where we left off. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty good month. I will tell you, though, that I haven't used this deck so much, so most of these cards are still face up. And that's okay. Let's spread some positivity and joy for a change. I've given some fire and brimstone readings in the past, and that's not what this is all about. So let's see what we got here. Pull this off and switch her around. Don't want to. Alright, and excuse the glare here. There's no way I can stop that. I got the light shining down overhead. See? You are represented by the Ten of Pentacles. And the people in your life are represented by the Three of Cups. And over here, what draws you to them is death and some possible outcomes. Is the Four of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles. Now what's all this mean? Let's add it up. So I see the Ten of Pentacles as a completion of a cycle, a completion of a material cycle. So not necessarily anything to do within your brain or in your heart, but something to do within your material world. The definition on the card is wealth. But I don't want to apply that broadly like that, because I know that all you Cancers are not experiencing wealth, because all of us Leos are not experiencing wealth either. So it's some type of completion, some material completion, or the completion of some type of cycle regarding like the items around us, the things in our life, the things that we can touch with our hands. Could be a victory at our career, it could be something other than that, buying a new car, buying a new home, or coming close to doing the two of them things. And the people in your life are celebrating, they're happy for you. The definition on this card, and what I like about this deck, is that it offers definitions or short answer for what each of these cards mean on this deck, the Heaven and Earth Tarot. And this one says abundance. And I see abundance as happiness. We've got a lot of it. We've got things coming into our life abundantly. We have a lot. We have tons to share with the world, and we're giving and we're open and we're overflowing with joy. So they're happy for you. However, this does come at a cost, and the cost is a sacrifice of sorts with the Death card here. And I don't see the Death card as a negative card. I see it as the end of a cycle and the beginning of something new. If you look at the Death card here, you'll notice that he has a flower on his flag. It's like a skeleton knight riding on a horse over some dead bodies with a flowered flag, and the flower stands for rebirth and starting anew. That's actually a fairly positive card. And if something in our life is dying, it is always sad, but it's usually because it has to happen. It's to let new things in. We can only handle so much at one time, and we've got to recycle the old to bring in the new. Now what I see here is some possible outcomes is that we need to rest with this Four of Swords here. And I think that that's the best case scenario, is that we've worked hard for our achievements and we're going to get some rest this month, the month of August. And we're going to be able to kind of reflect and contemplate on all that we've achieved so far this summer and the year of 2021 in general. Another possible outcome is prudence. Now if you look at the imagery on this card, this Pentacles card, the Eight of Pentacles, we see a man hammering out pentacles on an anvil. And this is fairly similar to the standard Rider-Waite deck I usually read. This is going to be my new deck, I think. I don't really like the glare on it, but I do like the imagery on this deck. I like how biblical it is. It's easy to identify with, and I think that a lot of tarot cards struggle with that. Like, I got some other decks here that follow the same format as the Rider-Waite standard deck, but the imagery is so different that nobody can identify with it. However, this deck is different. This deck, it elaborates on the Rider-Waite deck, and it's less cartoony and more like a classical art, if you will, I suppose. So this has a man hammering out pentacles on an anvil. He's working hard at what he's doing, and he's being prudent in his work. He's putting it his all in. And I can see you working harder at the job that you're already pursuing, or this bringing you more labor. And this is the worst case scenario. And, you know, with great wealth comes more responsibility. The people might be celebrating for you, but that's not necessarily you. You see yourself as a hard worker, and you want to continue working at what you're doing to make this triumph that you felt stick. And I think that's where we're at with this reading. I don't want to go too much more in depth in it, but I am going to draw you some oracle cards here. Let's see, where is my oracle deck at? The favorite here, we got the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Everybody seems to like this one. All of my 8 viewers. But no, my friends really like this deck. This is a pretty deck. All these cards are so glossy, but I'm gonna have to find a new place to film. I love this room, but I'm thinking about taking it elsewhere or changing the angle here, because that bay window back there lets that glare in. You can't see me. I'm illuminated right now. And if I'm not illuminated, it's super dark. So we'll shuffle this deck. We'll get a couple oracle cards out here. We'll draw 3 of them for you. Interesting. Now I say this every video, but I take these cards at face value. So you can interpret them how you want. But what I see here is companionship, which in my opinion coincides with the abundance card here, the 3 of Cups. We've got a lot of people in our life that care about us. We've got a lot of friends. We've got partners. We have companions. We've got people that have our backs. Now over here, I drew detachment. Now, when I think of detachment, I think of, you know, the career that I've pursued is a career in mental health. And I see detachment as detaching from outcomes, but that's the way that we toss that term around. Not necessarily being detached from the people in our lives, but being attached to the circumstances and being attached to the outcomes of events that come into our lives. Like we're not attached to any particular way that things could turn out. And I don't see detachment as a negative thing. And if you look at the imagery on this card, it's got like a diagram of the human brain. So it's pretty interesting. And I'm assuming that this, you know, the whole detachment thing comes from the acceptance and commitment therapy thing, or at least that's where I know it from, which is a model of psychotherapy. And it's interesting because I promise that this deck is much older than acceptance and commitment therapy is, and we've got this diagram of the human brain there. So I see this as being detached from the outcome, or being detached from the circumstance, and just being focused on being here in the present. And finally, another great card, I have the empathy card. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I consider empathy to be a real life superpower. So on this card, you've got a couple animals. We've got a Saint Bernard, or a Newfoundland dog, with a child. And we got a bird bringing a gem into a human ear. And I see this as being to connect with others on a deeper level, being able to understand people, and being able to kind of put yourself in the position of others and understand them on a deeper level, rather than a superficial Pentacles level. We're understanding them on a Wands or a Cups level, or sometimes even, if necessary, a Swords level. And you know, I haven't really explained this in my readings too thoroughly, but when I use these terms and I see the world this way, I think of Pentacles as the material world, and I think of Swords as decisive action or intensive thought. I think of Cups as celebration and love and joy and connecting to others and everything that brings us happiness, or not even just happiness, but any type of emotion. And when I think of cups, I think of faith. I think of something coming from the heart. I think of something that we can't touch with our hands. I think of the immaterial world. And that's wands. Is that all of them? Pentacles, swords, cups, and wands? Yeah. Alright, yeah. So that's where we're at, Cancer. I see this being a good month for you. I haven't given a positive reading in a while. This has been the month of July has been a long month here in Michigan, and I hope that yours turned out better than ours. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next month in September.